Good evening, everyone. This is another session of Fred Speaks. And tonight is a great night. We have a wonderful subject. Before we get to our subject, though, I would like to introduce someone that I have a tremendous amount of respect for, Aisha, which is in the Tennessee area. And are you there, Aisha?
I'm here.
So we're glad to have Aisha on with us tonight. And we're going to dive into our subject, which is the unexpected. And a lot of things come to mind when it comes to this topic. Um, it could be negative or it can be positive. But tonight we're going to kind of focus on the positive, um, when something is unexpected. One of the things I think about regarding something that's unexpected is it catches you off guard. You're surprised. Maybe there's somebody who let you know that they have an interest in you, and you really wasn't prepared for that. You were kind of like, I didn't know. I didn't know you were interested in me or whatever. So sometimes things can just happen and it catches you off guard, and so that's why it's unexpected. You were not looking for it. You had no idea, you weren't thinking about that at all, and then out of the blue it happens. So there are different things, events in life that occur. For example, we had an unexpected event in Florida, with Hurricane Irma. Looking at all the news reports and everything, it looked like it was going to be east and go up the East Coast, but all of a sudden that changed. So it was unexpected. So there's different things that occur in life that you have no control over them, but they happen, and sometimes they're very unexpected and surprising, and kind of sometimes they catch you off guard. So with that, just my initial thoughts on the subject. But we have a wonderful guest, as I mentioned earlier, Aisha from Tennessee. So at this point, we want to kind of turn it over to Aisha and let her give her thoughts on this subject, the unexpected. Are you there,
So
Aisha?
I'm here. So you wanted to just focus on the positive. But I do want to say that I think for myself and for a lot of people, when we think about the unexpected, we don't really think about the positive um, aspect of something being unexpected. Um, and so I am really struggling with this because I can probably think of some things that were unexpected that were great. But when I think about that, I generally think about like something like, hey, the tire on my car was flat, or something just not positive. So if we're gonna focus on the positive, I can do that. And it's I don't. You know what? No, I can't. No, I can't. I really do struggle with this. But I will say this for all of the things that are unexpected that are negative. Um, I am very certain that there is a reason for it, and that it is there to teach us a lesson and to make us better. Um, and I'm not going to actually read the scripture, but Isaiah 55, 8 through 9, or further if you want, in the verse will kind of explain that, what we want or what our thoughts are, they're not, they don't exceed what God has for us and his plans for us and his thoughts for us. And so I think that even when you consider the unexpected, you have to consider that, whatever plans you make, they may not be what's best for you and what the Lord wants for you. So in that way, I can look at it as a positive. Um, but my first thought when it comes to the unexpected just doesn't tend to lean toward the positive. Maybe I should work on that.
Okay. We appreciate Aisha sharing her thoughts on that. That was very good. Um, because yeah, as I mentioned earlier, unexpected could be positive or negative in our minds or whatever. But as she was, reading the or talking on the scripture from Isaiah, a scripture came to me, regarding the unexpected, and it is Romans 8:28, and it says, "And we know that all things work together for the good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to His purpose." And although some things may, in the human mind be or seem to be negative, if it's God's plan, then it will work for the good or for the positive. So, it's just like somebody who starts working out. Initially you go through this stage of pain and hurting. You're sore, but if you can get through that, you get to the positive, some results, and you start to see in your body toning up and definition, your muscles being defined. But the initial thing was getting through the pain, the suffering, the feeling sore, to get to that point. So even though um, things can be unpredictable or seem negative to us, with God, those things tend to work for our good, and therefore they are positive. So good comes out of them. Um, Sometimes, even like with relationships, you may go through some bad relationships, and you're like, man, doesn't seem like I'm destined to have a good relationship with someone. But it took, going through, several bad ones to get to one that God actually may have for you, which, even though the bad ones, when you think about them, it makes you feel a certain way. But, it took going through those to get to someone that, is for you. So, even though things are unpredictable and they can be unexpected, um, good can come out of them. And so I kind of wanted to focus on the positive, but I appreciate Aisha showing the other side of that, which, in our human minds, we view things as positive and negative, and sometimes we don't want the negative things to happen to us, but um, good can come out of them. So, Aisha, um, is there anything like positive that has occurred in your life recently that you can kind of say that was unexpected?
Not that I'd like to share online, no.
Okay, all right, that's fine. That's fine.
But I
eh,
can think of something. I can't remember what year this was. I don't remember the year, but when I finished my master's degree, my boss actually um, decided to give me a raise, and that was unexpected. I didn't expect that. So, I knew he kept asking when was I going to be done with it, done with my degree, but I didn't know that he had that planned. And even with that, I think God had his hands on that too. So,
okay, that's great. That's awesome. So then, some things unexpected, they can be positive. So, um, and that's the thing, being able to, because in God's, and this is the way I view it, in God's plan, it it's not about positive or negative. It's about different things that are happening, that it takes it all for him to make us what he wants us to be. And and that's about, you go through different things, and some things you kind of have an understanding why you went through it, but other things you're kind of like, I don't know why I had to go through that. But God, in God's plan, although it's unexpected to us, he already knew, and that it was going to happen. And different things catch us off guard, and just like the subject, it's unexpected. You're not. It's just like, Aisha mentioned earlier about having getting a flat tire or whatever. You're leaving, going to work or whatever. You're not you're not expected to get outside and your tire's flat. So those types of things, we don't look for them to happen, but they happen. Um, and sometimes even like, running into someone, and you're kind of like, what was that all about? And some unexpected encounter with someone, and you don't know, what it was about, but later on, you may see that person again or whatever, and you recall back when you had the interaction with them, and it's possibly somebody that can be a help to you, or you can be a help to them. So sometimes unexpected things can lead to, positive things. Um, so I'm really excited about this subject. There's a lot of different things that comes to mind, in regards to the subject. But I had another question for Aisha. Um, so how do you, like I was reading the scripture about, all things work together for the good, but how do we as human beings be able to apply that? Because that's God's message, letting us know that, whatever it is, don't worry about it. It's working for your good. So how do we as human beings apply that and understand that, no matter what it is that occurs in our life?
I think that we have to condition ourselves, and it's similar to, training for a marathon. You have to condition yourself and remind yourself that, that if something is happening, that it's happening for a reason. And that doesn't happen overnight, but as time goes by, you can kind of look over your life or look over situations and see how they have worked in your favor, and how God has intervened there. And so I think that that just takes conditioning and just having faith, which you also have to, practice.
Okay, great, great. And I was thinking as you were speaking, I remember working for a newspaper company, and an opportunity came along for to be a participant in this management program, and I was really excited about it. And but before I could even get to be a participant in this program, an event happened. And so the event was me and a coworker. We went to lunch, and we only had, I believe it was at the time we had, 30 minutes or so for lunch. I can't recall the exact amount of time, but anyway, we went way past the time that, we were supposed to be gone for lunch. And for some reason, and it was very stupid, but when we came back, we were being questioned. First, my coworker was questioning about, what time did we leave for lunch? How long were we gone and all this, right? So she told him that, we were only gone for 30 minutes or so, whatever. And so when they called me in, I said basically the same thing, even though I knew that we were gone longer. So to make a long story short, by lying to them, basically they excluded me from the program. And I was very upset. I didn't understand. I'm like, man, this is something I really wanted to do, and just because I lied about how long I was gone to lunch, why am I being, you know, banned or whatever, not being considered anymore for this program? And so years later, um, one of my aunt's uh, husbands was in that same program and end up being going all over the United States and everything to different places and stuff in this program, and end up losing everything. Losing, his wife, um, everything he had, he ended up losing. And I look back on it and I was like, because I was upset for years for that. Like, dang, I really wanted that to be in that program. But then later on, God showed me that how if I would have been in that program, it would have taken me away from the purpose that He had for me and the path that He had for me. And so, and saying that, and I said all that to say this is that even though some things are unexpected and they happen, and you have this thing that anger or whatever, or you're upset and you just don't understand why it had to happen that way. God, could have a plan for you, and because He let the event happen, He had to do that in order to keep you on the path that He had for you. So I just wanted to share that sometimes things can be, they may not go the way you want them, and then unexpected things happen. But you have to consider there is a higher power, and that He does have a plan. And if it's His plan for you to go a different path, then certain things can happen, you know, to basically get you back on the right path that He has for you. So I have another question. So Aisha, we covered about kind of, you know, us as human beings being able to stay in line and in tune with what God actually has for us, and being able to accept that. Um, but in regards to um, relationships with family, friends, etc., um, can you see that how God's plan has worked in your life as far as the unexpected events?
Yes, I can. Is there anything in particular that you're referencing, or?
No, just a general question.
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Um, you know, another thing I was thinking about is like, um, it and it goes back to, God's plan and what He has for us, and a lot of times we can we get angry and we get rebellious and we just want to do it our way, and we have things mapped out that how we want our lives to go or
Right,
whatever.
our expectations.
Right. And so just little simple things like, you know even when it comes to our parents and stuff. I just remember an event where I was was disobedient to my mom or whatever, and she told me to be back home at a certain time or whatever, and me just wanting to do it my way. It's like, I'm gonna stay tonight and I'll come back the next day or whatever. And just, my plan was, it was perfect, everything will work out, it's perfect. But an unexpected event happened, we end up getting in a car accident. And I just like that, I thought my life was over, and literally in that car, I felt like that was it. I felt like my life just flashed before me, and and but it was that unexpected event that taught me a lesson that obedience, you know, and to my mom, and sometimes when you as a child or whatever, you're thinking like, well, she'll be okay, she don't have to worry, but she was worried. She didn't know that I stayed the night. She had no way of getting in contact with anybody that, where I was at. Because she didn't know where I was at. And so she was all worried. And then on top of that, I get in a car accident or whatever, and that's all she could have remembered was, as far as I knew, he was going here and he was supposed to be back tonight or whatever. And that was it. So sometimes unexpected events occur to teach us something, to get our attention, um, to let us know that in that case, I really I was powerless. I had no control over the situation. Um, but only thing that was there to protect me was God, and was able to see me through it. So I believe also that sometimes unexpected events is to get our attention, and to let us know that we need God, we need Him in our lives, and so many times we take Him for granted, and we don't really pray and talk to Him. Um, we just go on with our lives like we're keeping ourselves, we're looking out for ourselves, and you know He said, "Without me, you can do nothing." And I mean, I truly believe that. If he was to move his hand in so many different situations, then I would be helpless. I'm just a human being, and I only have so much power and um, control over certain things. But there are certain situations we get in, we're powerless, and we have no control over it. There's nothing we can do about it, and so we're at his mercy, and he can have mercy on whom he will. So sometimes unexpected events are to get our attention, to let us know that we need someone greater than mom, greater than dad, greater than friends and family, um, to be there for us. Because although friends and family, they want to be there for us, they love us and they care about us, but there are certain places we can get that their arms are too short. They can't say enough right things, to reach us, but it takes God, His love, and His power to reach us. So, like I say, sometimes unexpected, um, can also mean that it's God trying to get our attention, to let us know that we need Him, and that we can't make it in this world without Him. And it takes sometimes it takes being in a car accident. Um, it takes losing something, um, for it to open our eyes up, and just say, "Hey, God, I need you. I can't make it without you." Um, so, just want to get your thoughts on that, Aisha. What do you think about that?
I mean, I agree with what you said. But I'll also say that, sometimes God works through the people that are closest to us. And on the other hand, He works through strangers. So, maybe you're not hearing it from your mother, but maybe someone at work starts talking to you, and it makes everything clear to you. So sometimes, it's not family or friends or strangers, but sometimes God does work through them to help us understand.
Okay. So, what about him allowing an unexpected event to occur? Not so much about who he's going to use to get our attention, but just him trying to get our attention that we may have a stronger and better relationship with him.
Oh, I believe that that's possible too. Sometimes, you got to be alone and by yourself, and sometimes the situation will force you to be alone so that you can actually sit still and listen and understand. And I had a situation like that when I first moved, maybe the second year that I was in Tennessee. And I sent both of my kids back so they can stay with their dad, and to kind of get on my feet and, get things together. And I had a relationship that ended. And through all of that, I remember being upset and angry. But when I had the time to sit and, sit and contemplate and just listen, I realized that God needed to get my attention, and I needed to build my faith and believe that, what He has for me, I need to listen and follow. And that required me to be by myself. And while I did have my mother always calling me to check on me, somehow she always knows when things aren't right with me. It was never anything that she said, but just me realizing that I needed to be alone for a reason. Um, and that lesson to this day, I think, sticks with me. That sometimes you just have to be alone so that you can hear what you need to hear.
That's great. And as you were speaking, I was thinking about a scripture, um, and this correlates with our subject, the unexpected. Um, like we just experienced this hurricane here in Florida, and it's amazing how we we all were in the same boat. There was nothing we could do. We had no control over it. But we were, at God's mercy. But the scripture is found in Psalms, the 46th chapter and the 10th verse. And it says, "Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the heathen, and I will be exalted in the earth." And I think a lot of times when we have unexpected things occur in our lives, we get in an uproar, and we are trying to figure it out and trying to do everything we can to get out of that situation. And but I can just hear God in this just saying, "Be still and know that I am God." That I don't care how rocky it gets, how the storm is roaring, and just be still. And that, I mean, speaks volumes. It puts you in a place where I have to trust him. I need to trust him. I need to know that he is God and that he has my life in his hands. Um, spiritually and naturally, that he has me. And I was thinking about Jesus when he told his father, he said, "All that you have given me," he said, "I've kept." And that's how I feel in when unexpected things happen. Um, is I'm in his hands. I'm in his power. That he has me. He's watching out for me. He's protecting me. Even though my The human part does not like certain things that occur, and it's uncomfortable, and it doesn't want to be in that state. But just knowing that God is in control, and that He wouldn't put no more on me than I'm able to bear. So although it's unexpected, um, God is still in control. So with that, um, just want to hear some final thoughts from Aisha and on this great subject, the unexpected. So you have anything in the final words, Aisha?
Oh, I just want to say that that's one of my favorite scriptures, actually. Be still and know that I am God. 'Cause I know that sometimes, we get angry and we want to, we want to react right away. And so I know that when I get angry or I feel like I need to be doing something right now, sometimes the only thing I need to do is just be still and trust that God is going to handle it. And that's one of my favorites because sometimes when you're just dealing with the unknown, you feel like, you know what, let me just do what I think is best, and you can get yourself into more trouble. Um, but that's definitely one to use when you're in unexpected situations that you perceive as negative. Just be still and know that God is working it out for you.
And with that, we're gonna bring this to a close. But I just want to say thank you to Aisha being on with us tonight, and definitely a lot of good stuff she had to share with us. Just in closing, if you find yourself with the unexpected, whether good or bad, or negative, the positive or negative, the way we as humans view things, just know that there is a higher power, and that He is in control, and we don't know what His plan is, but I truly believe that if He allows it to come in our lives, He has a purpose for it. And just going back to the scripture, Romans 8:28, and we know that all things work together for the good, to them that love God, and called according to His purpose. And I believe we all have a purpose. So whatever the events, whether they're unexpected or not, that occur in our lives, God has a plan for us. So with that, we want to say good night, and we thank you for listening in.